What is going on? Welcome to Hey Mark, the podcast where I, Mark, get to have open and authentic conversations about things like mental health. It could be your work life, your family life, your any entrepreneurial stuff that you're going through. But essentially all I'm trying to do is push some good vibes forward into the universe. So if you're brand new to this, or maybe you've listened to it before, thank you for stumbling on this video. And all I ask is if you do find value in this kind of stuff, then please just refer it to your loved ones, refer it to someone who, may be struggling, has struggled in the past, or just wants to carve their life into a new, better direction. One of the things I like to do is kind of share my stories so you guys can hear about my perspectives and the lessons I've learned through the adversities I've faced, but it's boring listening to just one guy. So today you get to hear from Kodie Lachlan as well. He's been on the show before, but I had him back because he's a fan favorite by request. He's here again.
Well, thanks for having me again, Mark. This is awesome. I guess people were actually interested in the last one, so they were asking for a second one. So here we are. We talked about a lot last time. I know that for sure. I think we went on to it was like an hour and 15, right?
Yeah, something like that. I've got nothing planned for the rest of the evening. I know you got some stuff going on a little bit later, so I'm down to go as long as you want.
Okay. Well, yeah, I got like an hour, so I got to go pick up a couch from IKEA. I'm moving into my new place. So, yeah, I'm stoked.
Sweet, dude. Well, let's start with that. You're moving?
Yeah, I'm moving to Deer Lake with my girlfriend. So we're going to be moving in together. We've been living together for a year now. And we're going to be moving there. It's a lot closer for work for me, which is huge because I've been driving from Cloverdale here, which takes sometimes up to an hour and 15 minutes, hour and 20 minutes, depending on what time of day. So I'm actually excited to have like a 15-minute commute rather than hour and 15. So yeah, it's going to be a ground level suite. It's quite a bit bigger. Like my condo here, it's actually pretty nice. Like it's newer. It's got everything, like a gym and everything like that. But it's like 720 square feet and we're moving up to like 1,000 or 980.
Nice, man. Nice.
So I'm tired of living in small spaces.
Yeah, no kidding. And closer to work is huge, man. Like that's one thing. Like I move around a lot for work because I'm in construction. So we bounce from site to site, obviously, but it's, man, it's a lot nicer when your commute's shorter. I got a house that I'm working on in my neighborhood. Actually, it takes me like literally 2 minutes, not even to get there. So,
that's awesome. You can roll out of bed. Well, I know you do your morning bike rides. You still doing that? Yeah,
I'm on a pretty rough well, I wouldn't say rough. It's pretty. I'm on a program right now called 75 Hard. I don't know if you've heard about it, but it calls for 2 workouts a day. And one of them has to be outside. So I find the easiest thing is just get like the outdoor one out of the way right away in the morning.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty wild.
Hard. Is that David Goggins?
No, Andy Frisella, the guy that owns First Form Supplement Company.
I know Andy Frisella. He's like the guy who basically swears the whole time and all of his motivational speaking. He's like, fuck this, fuck that. I don't know if you are going to cut this out, but.
No, you can swear. I don't give a shit, man. See whatever you want.
Andy Frizella's hard as fuck. I know that.
Yeah, he's hardcore, man. And this is like a cool little discipline program that he's made. There's like 6 rules you got to follow every single day for 75 days straight. And if you miss one of the rules, then you have to start back at day 1. So it's kind of like a never-ending program. Like you just have to complete it to get out of it, unless you just fold and quit. Which, I mean, you could do as well, but
Sorry, which day did you say you're on?
Right now, this is day 53. So I'm on the home stretch, man. I'm on the last, third of this. I'm just plugging away, man. It's like Groundhog Day, dude. Like, every day is the exact same. Just to hit every single, one of the rules. Because I in the beginning, I was so anxious to miss one of the rules. Yeah. And now it's just, routine at this point. Now, it's just, don't crack. That's it.
Nice. And what time do you wake up? What time's the alarm?
4 a.m.
Oh my God, man. I wake up at sometimes 6, 7, and I'm like, okay, that's early. I'm definitely an 8 o'clock guy. 8 o'clock is a good time for me to wake up.
Yeah, and people have said that to me. They're like, oh, I wish I could do that. Oh, I wish I could wake up at 4 o'clock. But dude, I'm going to be honest. I am just a morning person. It works for me. I'm completely fine with it. I get super tired, if we had done this at 7 o'clock, by the end of it, I would have been beat. Like I get super tired at like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. I can't function well.
Nice. Well, yeah, I guess that's like me too. I kind of go to bed at like 10, but I think I function best on like 9 hours of sleep.
9 hours, eh?
That's me. I mean, I could do less, but 9 hours, and I feel the most kind of my energy levels are the most stable throughout the day. If I do like 8 or 7, I can tell like I almost want to nap, but I don't unless it's like 6. But
yeah. I find like finding your little magic number for sleep is so hard because so many people will tell you different things. And then there's always like those guys that are like, nah, man, I'm like that hustle gang, no team, no sleep. I can live off of 4 hours of sleep. Like, that's crazy, man. I can't believe people live like that.
Yeah, I'm honestly, I'm pretty sure if you don't have at least 7 hours of sleep, you're more likely, like 20% more likely to die in your 60s.
Really?
Yeah, like sleep is, as you know, sleep's so important, right? Like you got to at least get 6-7 hours. Like people who are doing 5-4 hours, like you're going to burn out, like, or you're aging twice as fast.
I like, I'll be honest, I do it once in a while. Like there's times where I'm like, oh, I just have to stay up late and I know my 4 a.m. alarm clock is coming. But even if I do it one day, it's like I can feel it, man. It's brutal. It's rough.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you a napper or no?
I try not to be. I find that napping's such a weird thing because if you don't time it well, you can wake up even more tired. Like I'm like, I don't know if it's because I've had like a few concussions or just because I was an idiot when I was a kid, but I feel like if I nap too long, I'll wake up like kind of like cloudy and like foggy minded. Like I can't think straight. I'm like unfocused. Like I don't know. Naps don't work for me, man.
I think at the 20-minute mark, it's between the 20 and 30-minute mark, your REM sleep cycle kicks in. So that's basically like, that's why they say a 20-minute nap is the best you can do. Like 15 is good, 20s are the most. But like, I think if you go past 20, you wake up actually more tired because your REM sleep cycle kicks in, right? And your body's like, okay, I'm resting now. So it almost goes into like a completely rested state when all your like hormones are being utilized and things like that. And, but yeah, I think 20 minutes is like the magic marker. For me, if I do 20 minutes, I can wake up more energized than when I went to bed, for sure.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe I nap for too long, man. Because anytime I nap, I feel like when I wake up, like I'll usually set an alarm for myself and I usually do a half hour. And then the second I wake up, I'm like hitting snooze on that alarm. And I'm like, dude, this defeats the purpose. Like I would have, like I would have been fine if I had just not napped.
Yeah. Have you watched any good movies lately? Sorry to like change the topic, but.
No, it's all good. Movies. I haven't really watched any movies. I haven't really had the time just because I've been like kind of working a lot. But I did watch, I don't know if you've seen this yet, but I really recommend it. The Social Dilemma on Netflix, man.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's so funny. I was actually just going to bring that up too.
Yeah, I just watched it. I just finished it last night. I had to do it in 3 sittings because I've been like a little bit busy and I need to make sure I get my sleep. But
yeah, the social dilemma. We'll go back to that, but also the Octopus Teacher. Have you seen that?
Octopus Teacher?
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
No, I haven't seen it. What is it?
Oh man, it was like
literally so a person who trains an octopus.
It's about a guy from South Africa who goes and visits. He finds this octopus in her den, and goes and visits her for like 300 and don't quote me on this, but like 326 days or something like that. And octopuses only live for or octopi, I don't know what the actual word is. They only live octopi, yeah. So they only live for a year. So they only have 1 year. And he was there with her for like 324 days. He went and visited her like every single day. And they document it. Oh my God, man. It is the craziest thing. Like to see how smart and adaptive these things are. It's almost like they're complete aliens. There's no way these things are not alien. Like they came from a separate planet and they've been living in our ocean. They can change colors on an instant. The way they can shield themselves, there's like a scene where a shark comes by and it can tell it's in danger because it sees the shark and it grabs, because each arm has a separate brain, right? So technically, like if you think about it that way, octopus have 8 brains and each one can think like differently. So each part reaches over and grabs like a separate shell or like a rock or something, and it completely rolls itself into like this little like shield with all these different rocks and things, and it's sitting there, and all you see is its eye looking through, and it's just staring, watching the shark go by, and then as soon as the shark goes by, drops all the rocks and like swims off back to its den. I was like, what animal knows how to like pick up things and shield itself?
Yeah, that's insane. And like the way that they can like just like kind of like slip through like little like crevices and stuff. Like I believe I heard, I don't know if it's octopus or squid, but like if they can fit their mouth through, their whole body can fit.
That's octopus, yeah. Because when I was crabbing, we dealt with a lot of octopus, and like, yeah, there's little small holes in our checker where we dump the crabs into, and it's probably like, I don't know if you can see that, but like,
yeah,
maybe 2 inches by an inch. And literally you have a huge, I'm talking 180-pound octopus, Pacific octopus, in our checker, and it's sitting there, and its head is about that big. And all of a sudden you're looking at it, and a second later it slips through that little teeny checker hole that's like this big. And it's back out in the ocean. I'm like, oh my God, like if you turn your back on it for a second, it's gone.
That's insane. So let's talk about that, man, because I saw that on like your stories and your posts a lot. Like, how'd you get into doing that? Like, I was like, dude, this guy's on Deadliest Catch.
It is Deadliest Catch. I mean, we're not quite as north as they are, and they're going for Alaskan king crab, and we go for Dungeness. But my cousin's been doing it for a little while, a couple seasons now, and he just offered me the gig. He's like, hey, man, if you want, do you want to come up? I think he thinks I could physically handle it. I don't know about mentally, because that was probably one of the hardest things I've ever done. It kind of reminded me of like Navy SEAL training. I mean, I don't know anything about that, but I've studied a little bit into it. And where else do they starve you, deprive you of sleep, and work you for like 20 plus hours a day? And then sometimes you have a shitty skipper, which is your captain, and he's yelling at you, telling you to work harder and telling you there's no breaks and stuff like that. Like, it's like Navy SEAL training in a way, because there's certain points where you're so hungry and you're so sleep deprived, and it's almost like you're working and you're lifting these 80 to 120 pound crab pots, and you're stacking them on the back of the boat. And then you're just checking crabs all day long. You have a marker. So there's like a little ruler that you measure them to make sure that it's a male. And then it has to be, I don't know the exact, I forget, I think it's 6 inches. So the shell from spike to spike on the shell has to be 6 inches. And then you can throw it into your hold, which is where you collect all the crabs. So yeah, sometimes you're out there for, my second trip, we were out there for 7 days out in the open ocean. Like, you can't see land. You're working exactly like 20 hours a day kind of thing. You get a couple food breaks, but it was probably the hardest thing I've ever done. But like, the reward is extreme, man. Like, everything else in life seems so much easier. I'm like, it's not crabbing. Like, I could do anything but crabbing again, and I'd be happy.
Unreal, dude. I might want to try that. That's so sick.
Yeah, I recommend it just as like almost like rite of passage as a man. You know what I mean? Like, you know how some guys go out to the woods and like kill a bear, or they like skin a deer and live out in the woods for a couple months. Like, I recommend going out in a crab boat for a couple weeks. If you can do that, oh my God, then you have my respect.
That's insane, dude. So yeah, like, you just kind of put like your life on pause. You're like, yo, I'm going out for a couple weeks. That's it.
Yeah, like the opportunity came up, and the money's insane. Like, I was only half share, and I was still making like quite a bit over $1,000 a day.
Insane.
So,
dude.
And there's people that get full share, like my cousin, and a lot of the other guys who've done a couple seasons, they get full share. So if I'm making quite a bit over $1,000 a day, imagine what they're making. They're making double me.
Unreal, man.
So the money is insane, but physically, I think maybe 5% of the actual population could handle that. No joke. Like, in the sense of physical and mental, there's certain points where you're like, can I do this? Can I wake up? We got 2 hours of sleep, and they're like, all right, here we go again, day 2. Like, yeah, it's pretty crazy.
That's
man.
nuts, dude.
I just remember at a certain point I was prepping myself for a while, because my other cousin, who I'm living with actually, he was telling me, he's like, oh man, like, it's the hardest thing you'll ever do. And he was giving me all these horror stories. And then when I got into it, I was like, okay, this is not even anything like he talked about. Like, he told me horror stories, but this is way worse than I thought it was.
Man, did you ever feel like you were endangered? Like, not like just like was sleep deprived or like food deprived. Did you ever feel like you were in danger at all?
Not really, because I went kind of like in the peak of summer, which is like the best weather. So I actually had a couple sunny days, which is awesome.
Nice.
But there were certain storms we had where like the boats, or excuse me, the waves are coming over the boat. So like there's certain points where you're carrying this 100-pound crab trap and you're walking it from the bow to the stern, and all of a sudden a big wave comes over and it like splashes you and you basically get knocked on your ass. So it could be a little bit dangerous. And I definitely have some injuries, like my hand. I still have no feeling in my pointer finger in both hands.
Nice.
And I'm pretty sure I have the onset of carpal tunnel, and I fell and hit my wrist pretty good. So yeah, your body takes a beating for sure. But there's, like the risk of falling over. Like if you're sleep deprived and you're working like that, you're almost like not fully firing on all cylinders. So yeah, I could see someone like tipping off the boat, or a wave knocks them over, or maybe they drop a trap on them, or I don't know. There's a lot of dangers involved. I think it's actually the top 5 deadliest jobs in the world, they said.
Yeah, no kidding, man. I feel like maybe, that's nuts. But I feel like there's a lot of risk in a lot of different jobs. Like even like, I don't know, maybe I'm an idiot, but like I shot a nail through my hand while I work in construction, man. So like I'm missing feeling in my middle finger on my left hand. But
where did it go through? Like right on the inside, like between the, where did
no,
exactly?
it was my finger. It was my finger. I shot through my finger. It's all kind of healed up now. You can't really see it, but yeah, there's no way you could see it. But yeah,
No.
I shot it like right through my fingertips. So it went in through like somewhere around here and then came out like right in my fingertip. I just missed my nail. So it's kind of like angled this way. And I was really lucky, man. No like permanent nerve damage. It should come back. But just the tip of it's numb. Just the tip, man.
You'll never get that back, you think, right?
I have no idea. They said I should, but I don't know. It's like kind of like a weird little tingly feeling. It is what it is. My thumb on this hand is numb as well. I sliced that a couple years back. So I'm kind of used to it.
Yeah, I think you could probably handle crabbing. If you're doing construction and you're hurting yourself like that and like not really complaining, then for sure I think you could probably handle it.
Well, like, dude, it's a fingertip, man. Like, whatever. Like, and I still have the finger. Like, that's the thing. I've seen I've seen horror stories. I have an uncle that sliced off 2 of his fingers. So like, I feel like I'm blessed, man. I have all my fingers. I'm good to go. Just like the tip is numb, whatever, man.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Let's go back to the social dilemma.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a lot of points we could talk about in that.
That rocked my world, man.
That was crazy, man.
About it?
Well, it's all kind of things I knew, but the whole, like, I never really knew in depth that, like, they're basically monitoring how long you're looking at a picture and things like that. And then, like, I knew about the advertisements because there's been numerous times where I've talked to somebody about something. I'm like, hey, this bottle of wine is awesome. Like, I really like this bottle of wine. I can't wait to try it. And then all of a sudden, my whole advertisements on my feed are, like, bottles of wine from that company. I'm like, okay, that's weird. Someone's definitely listening to me. So I knew that. And obviously whatever you type in Google, it's all like searched. But if I think about it like this, Instagram has so much control over what we're doing on their actual app. But imagine what they say the secret government has on us for everything on our phone. For like, everything's tracked, everything's monitored, everything's recorded. Like, especially with COVID now, every kind of business. So all the businesses that have been, like the typical person who moved here from some foreign country, opened up a store, busted their ass since day one, built that business from the ground up, and they're showing up every single day, working their ass off, and all of a sudden COVID hits, and they're forced to shut down. Now what happens is they're saying, okay, if you want to continue business, you have to do it online because we don't want people to come to your store. We don't want, we want to practice social safe distancing, things like that. So now all of a sudden the government's saying we want everything to be monitored, monetized, recorded, everything like online essentially. So all your business has to be done online. So they have records of how donaire sales are, how gym sales are, everything, because everything is now has a receipt on it, or recorded. So it's kind of freaky. And the fact that they're talking about like getting rid of cash, ooh man, it's like everything will be on paper. Everything we do, everything we think about, everything, it's creepy. it's like complete dehumanizing and turning us into like AI and robotics.
Yeah, man. I'm a pretty big, like, I don't get paid in cash at all. Well, I get tips from the restaurant, but I still carry around cash just because I feel like cash is always easier. Cash is king. Like
Yeah.
imagine like I always think of it like this. This is like one of the reasons I carry cash on me is like you imagine like you're maybe downtown one night or you're just out and about and you get in a jam. Dude, having cash on you is really powerful. Like just to be able to get help from somebody. If you're like, hey man, can I borrow your phone? I'll give you $20. Like something like that. Like, you know, like it's so useful to have cash. Dude, if they got rid of cash, that'd be scary. You'd have to give away assets. You'd be like, here's my watch, bro.
Yeah. Here's my watch.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just freaky, man. Like they're doing everything online now. It's like all these businesses, like especially like the older generation. I don't know if that's Generation X. Anyways, they're not into social media and this kind of stuff and like being on a computer, and all of a sudden they're like forced to run their business online. And it's just weird, man. It's like they're forcing everybody out of their comfort zone and making everybody comply to these whole like, okay, social distancing. But now obviously businesses are open. A lot of businesses are open, but there was a period where if you wanted to keep your business alive, you had to do it online.
Yeah.
So
I even know guys our age, man. Like I know guys our age, a lot of like trades guys that are just like, man, I don't want to like fuck computers. I don't want to learn all this stuff. Like there's guys like that as well. Like I know guys that are just like that who are our age. They're just like carpenters or plumbers and they just want to work and that's it. They don't want to learn how to like use computers properly. Like, I don't know. Like there's something to be said about either way, but I feel like, yeah, it's so weird, man. I found like one of my biggest things that I noticed, and this is like kind of something I was paying attention to right before I watched it anyways, but after I watched it is like how they time your notifications and stuff like that. Because I know like.
What do you mean like timing exactly? Like in the case of like how they'll be like, okay, he's clearly disinterested. Let's give him something to stimulate him.
Yeah, like I know like for myself, because so like I wake up early, right? And so I'm in bed pretty early as well. And because I used to have like kind of like I'm like really like kind of impulsive and extreme with everything I do. And like I have a really addictive personality. So like if I have my phone by my bed, I'll sit on my phone and I won't go to sleep. So I plug my phone in like kind of across my bedroom. Yeah. And so I'll go to bed, like I'll plug my phone in usually around like 8:30, and then I'm in bed by like 9ish. And that's when my notifications pour in, man. So it'll be like YouTube channels I subscribe to. They'll be like, did you see this video today? Or like Twitter will shoot me like, this person retweeted this. And then like I'll get like all these notifications pour in around like 8-9 o'clock at night when I typically like go to bed and have my phone off. Well, not off, but not like in my hands. And
it's how they draw you in, right?
Yeah,
At
and then you know what?
They draw you in.
Yeah, and I'll open up the notification, and the video would have been posted like 5 hours ago, or like the tweet would have been sent like 2-3 hours ago, and it's like, dude, like you would think, and like intuitively that they would just like the video gets uploaded, and then I get the notification. But it's like, no, dude, they're timing it. Like they know exactly like when you stop using. And I don't say like they, like it's a person, like it's a machine, obviously, that's doing it. But yeah, like they like this machine can figure out like when you're stopping using your phone and how to get you back on it. Because it has worked on me a couple of times where I'm like, dude, my phone's popping off. It's 8:30. Like I'm going to bed, and so I'll like check it, and I'm like, man, why do I have all these random notifications that I would never actually pay attention to? Like it's just like weird, man.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Now that you say that, I actually noticed that YouTube will send me, because there's like motivational clips and like pages I follow, like training pages.
Yeah.
They'll actually send me a notification most of the time when I go work out. Like on my way to the gym, it'll be like YouTube bodybuilding motivation or something like that pops up. I'm like, okay, how does it know that I'm going to the gym? And that actually happened today, which is weird because it's like I usually kind of go around the same time.
Yeah.
And then, like I got a YouTube notification saying the new video posted, and I was like, okay, and I was actually looking for music. I'm like, I need something to like listen to today. I'm like, maybe I'll just like skip music and go to like YouTube, because I like to do that sometimes too, where I just put on like a motivational movie or something like that, or even just listen to like some motivational speaker or podcast. But yeah, it like notified me on my way to the gym. Like, okay, what are the chances that I was thinking I need to listen to something new today, and then this notifies me on my way to the gym?
Yeah, man, I get that as well. Hold up, I'm going to pause it really quick because I got to run to the washroom really quick. I'm not even going to edit this out because that's how authentic we are here. But I'm just going to pause the recording real quick and I'm going to go to the washroom.
Okay.
All right, with the magic of pausing the recording, that was a 1 second bathroom break. But that's just a testament to how difficult this like task is. Because so one of the rules is you have to drink at least a gallon of water every single day. So
And this is on your 75-day get hard?
Yeah, 75 hard. Yeah. So yeah, that's one of the rules is drink at least a gallon of water a day. But I sweat quite a bit because I work in construction and I go to the gym. So I kind of upped it to 5 liters, kind of stupidly, but
yeah.
But yeah, man, it's that's just a little like testament to how kind of annoying it is because you're going to the washroom all the time. But you get used to it, man. It is what it is.
Yeah, you got to drink your water. I'd probably do what, maybe 3. Honestly, not that much, man. I probably do like 3 shaker cups a day. That's probably not enough, but
I feel like that's good though. I feel like that's good. I think that a liter is a little, or I mean a gallon. I feel like is a little bit excessive, but
yeah.
I feel like it's nice. I feel like it. I used to drink like probably 4 or 5 coffees a day. Like I just drink black coffee, so it's not like sugar or cream or milk or anything like that.
That's
but just
good, yeah.
But even 5 coffees a day is pretty bad for you, man. I feel like for your heart, or I don't know why. It's probably just bad for you. I think it's acidic for your stomach. I don't know. A lot of people have told me a lot of different things. But the point of what I'm trying to say is since I'm drinking so much water, I cut down my coffee because I'm like, if I'm drinking coffee and this much water, there's no work I can do. Like I'm pretty much just going to the washroom all day. So
Yeah.
I cut my coffee down to 2 coffees a day and all this water, and my energy levels have skyrocketed, man. Like I feel
Really?
so much more energized. I don't know if it's the water or just working out this often, but
Your cells are hydrated, you're working out lots, like your energy's just off the charts. Like it's definitely a combination of everything, right?
yeah, and eating well as well, man. I haven't eaten this well as consistently as I have. And so even when I was doing bodybuilding or like a prep, you have a cheat meal maybe once a week, every 2 weeks kind of thing. Whereas like, dude, I haven't had a cheat meal since I started this. So I'm on 53 days with like literally sticking to my diet.
Wow. How do you resist temptation when you're at work, like you're serving?
One of my rules that I've set for myself is I don't eat anything I don't make. So if I haven't made it, then I'm not eating it. There's no, it's easy for me to say no that way. It's like, I'm so used to it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's hard, man. A lot of people can't do that.
I'm in robot mode right now, dude. It's Groundhog Day. Like, it's just the same thing over and over and over and again. Like, yeah, it's brutal. It's fun. It's like, it's nice. You feel like a champion. Like every day I feel like Rocky, man.
Really?
Like it's kind of fun. I don't know. I kind of thrive. I really like feeling like an underdog, like feeling like I can't do something. Like that's something that I really enjoy. So like,
yeah,
it makes me feel good at the end of my day. I always just think of that, man. I'm like, man, at the end of the day, I'm going to feel so much better.
You should set your morning alarm to Rocky, like the theme song.
Yeah, that'd be sick. I actually should. That'd be so sick.
That would be awesome.
Which one though? Because there's the 2, man. There's Eye of the Tiger, and then there's the what's that one? What's it even called? Oh, Gonna Fly Now? Is that what it's called? Gonna
I don't know the actual name.
Now. You know that
I don't know
song?
what it's actually called, but I think that's it. Yeah. But I was thinking Eye of the Tiger.
Yeah, Eye of the Tiger. There was you know David Goggins. You mentioned him earlier, right?
Yeah.
So he talks about, you know, I think it was the song Gonna Fly Now, the song from Rocky that he would sing during his Navy SEAL training.
No way.
Over and over and over again. And then he played it when he did his like world record for the pull-ups. He just listened to that song over and over again for like the entire time. So like 24 hours straight. Because I think he was setting the record for 24 hours.
Wow.
And I was listening to that one time, and I listened to Eye of the Tiger that day for my entire workout on repeat.
Really?
Yeah, like an hour and a half workout. Just eye of the tiger the entire time, man.
Well, man, it goes to show like how powerful music actually is, right?
Yeah,
Like,
dude.
and it goes back to like so many generations since we were cavemen. Like that's how we like communicated was like through music and like tones, and that's why I'm like music is so primal, but it's so powerful.
Yeah, dude. You know, I've actually debated kind of making a video on it, talking about, you know, how music can impact your, not like mental health, but your mind state.
Yeah.
Because, man, like for me, music is everything. Like music is literally everything. Like when I'm
Yeah.
like a morning bike ride and I'm not feeling it, like I just hit leg day the day before or 2 days before, and I'm like, man, I do not want to do cardio right now. Like music is the only thing that carries me through those times.
Really?
Oh
What do
yeah,
you listen to
100%.
normally? Like what's your hype up music?
Depends on my mood, man. Depends on my
Yeah.
mood. I'll
It's all
listen.
dependent on mood.
I'll listen to like either like when I'm working out, it's either hip hop, like rap, or like heavy metal. But sometimes, very rarely, sometimes I can listen to like reggae or something smooth just to like kind of coast through it if I'm just doing like a steady state cardio. But if I'm
Yeah.
lifting heavy, it's gonna be like heavy metal or rap for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like same as me. But then like I'll kind of go back and forth. Like I'll do heavy metal for a little bit, rap for a little bit, and then I just go into like pure podcasts or like motivational clips of like hour-long recordings of The Rock just talking about his struggles and things like that, or Jordan Peterson, anybody like that that can just like sometimes I just want knowledge almost. You
Les
know,
Brown, man. Do you ever listen to Leslie Brown?
he's the black guy who's like, "How bad do you want it?" That kind of guy.
No, that guy, that's a different one. I can't remember that guy's name right now. But Les Brown is
I
from
can't
like
think
the
his name.
80s, man. Les
Oh, okay.
Brown's from like the 80s. My buddy sent me an hour-long clip of him the other day, during like literally as I walked into the gym. And I was like, I didn't even reply to his message. I just opened the video and listened to the video for the entire time. And I messaged him after my workout. I was like, I don't know how you timed that so well, but I was literally walking into the gym and I listened to that and I was like tearing up as I was working out because this guy's so sick, man.
Yeah,
I'll send you the
that's
video actually after this.
That's definitely send it to me, man. I'm excited because that's the kind of stuff I love. Like anything that brings emotion out, you know. Rap's good in its way, but I'm like nothing's more powerful than some sort of emotional aspect when you're training and you're like kind of going back to your roots and where you started and things like that. It's just like there's nothing more powerful for sure. And speaking of going back to Octopus Teacher, I actually cried a little bit during that movie. That's how good it is. Oh man, at the end, like, oh, it's just like he
Don't ruin it. Don't ruin it.
Yeah,
Don't ruin it.
I don't want to say it, but I ended up tearing up. But definitely go watch it on Netflix, man. It was awesome, so cool.
Octopus Teacher. That's what it's called.
My Octopus Teacher, yeah.
My Octopus Teacher. I'm gonna check that.
But yeah, it's so cool, man. It's a documentary, so
unreal.
Anyways, very cool. But yeah, Social Dilemma. Oh my God, that was just crazy, man. Like I'm scared to raise a girl like in the coming future. Like a little girl, especially. Guys, we can handle it a little bit better with like the social media thing. We're not always looking for the next like and comment, but like nowadays, man, there's so many girls that will do anything for $1, and it's really sad. It's really sad.
I feel like the real danger for a lot of people, like, I don't know, I'd say like mainly girls for this one, but I feel like guys do this as well. I feel like one of the main problems with social media for I'll say young people is like this like unattainable standard of beauty that people are looking for.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly, man.
And like it's not always about like likes or like how many followers you have. It's like you see these people and you just feel like shit because you don't have, you know, like the cars they have. Like for guys, it would be like the cars they have, the muscles they have, the girls that they have. For like girls, it's, I don't know, like every type of, like that's the thing with girls. I feel like it's like everything. Like it's like their hair, their eyes, their nose, their lips, their bodies. Like it's like every little aspect is like, it's like we're almost like setting up an unattainable like standard of beauty and what like that looks like, to the point where like I've had conversations with like family members or even close friends of mine where I'm like, what are you talking about? You look beautiful. Like what the fuck are, you know, like it's insane, man.
that point in the movie when the little girl starts like crying because like someone made fun of her nose or her ears.
Her
That's
ears.
what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I was like, she's such a beautiful, cute little girl, and then she's like feeling so bad about herself, and then she's using those apps to like change her face.
Cries, man. And she cries. I'm like, oh, that hit me.
There was a certain point when I'm like, okay, if they're gonna like hit me with a suicide right now, I'm gonna lose it. I thought the little girl was all of a sudden just gonna like kill herself or something like that, because like they're talking about suicide rates and things like that with young kids and depression. It's so sad, man. Like this new generation, it's like it's almost like we're going backwards. I don't know if I think I said that last podcast too, but certain points, certain things, we're actually going backwards. We're going forward in a lot of ways, but we're going backwards in a lot of ways too.
Yeah.
And just raising kids in this new generation, it's gonna be tough, man. It's gonna be really tough. How do you tell your kid who's like 13, like, no, you don't get a cell phone? Like, all my friends have cell phones, but I don't want you having a cell phone. You don't need a cell phone. You have no car. You'll be with me all the time. You don't need a cell phone, because the internet is a dark and interesting place.
Yeah, it's a weird one, man. I had this conversation with a buddy of mine the other day, because he was like, man, I don't think I want to have a kid. Like, I don't know. It's just so rough out there right now. And this was kind of what I said to him, man. Like, imagine, like, dude, my grandpa was born in Denmark. Well, yeah, like a lot of my family's from Europe. My grandpa was born in Denmark. He was present in Copenhagen when the Nazis took over, invaded, and like pretty much took over their entire city, country. And,
Wow.
you know, like, what if he had thought the same thing? What if he's like, man, like, fuck this. I don't want to have kids in a world like this. Because, like, dude, you literally have Nazis invading your city. Like, it's not like, you know, like covert operations or anything like that. Like, these guys are literally marching through the streets. There's swastikas everywhere. Like, it's scary. And, like, imagine if he thought the same thing. He's like, man, I don't want to have kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. But I don't know. There's just got to be better ways to, like, monitor the internet use and things like that. I guess that's really what it comes down to, is just monitoring it. And like, I don't know, man, it stresses me out a little bit thinking about raising a girl and like her seeing all these other girls online and like, oh, this girl does this, she has an OnlyFans and she makes this much money, and I'm having to work a normal job, and it's, oh man, it's rough.
100%. And sorry, I was just distracted by something. I had to pick it up. It's like my OCD. But yeah, dude, it is rough. And I feel like the same could be said for guys. Like, once again, I feel like the same could be said for guys. It's so, yeah, it is weird, man. It's really weird. You have like guys that are like on there, and you know, it could lead to like a lot of unhealthy lifestyles for guys as well.
Oh yeah, 100%, man. But I think guys are a little bit better in that whole like self-image. Like, guys are more like, take me or leave me, you know what I mean? And I feel like some girls are more, not every girl of course, but some are very dependent on their looks and how they're in, like, their social status essentially. Guys are just, since we're guys, we just don't care as much about that stuff. So
yeah, but there's other things that guys value. Like, a lot of guys will value like making money, or like, oh, I have to be an entrepreneur, I have to like do my own thing. Like, I feel like it's like really unhealthy for a lot of guys if they're just like, they are someone that likes to just kind of work a 9 to 5. Like, I've got a lot of buddies that just work 9 to 5 jobs. They're mechanics or whatever, and they're perfectly happy, man. They're like, you know, they make pretty decent money. They're perfectly happy working that job. Like, I feel like it could be pretty poisonous sometimes for people. I know for myself, like, I've been like, man, I'm, 25 years old. There's 25-year-olds that make millions and millions of dollars. Like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Like, am I even doing something that's worthwhile right now? Like, like, I've had that thought. And it's like,
me
dude,
too, man. Numerous times.
And I consider like myself someone that's got like quite a bit of mental fortitude. But like, if I'm having that thought and I consider myself to be strong mentally, I could only imagine like how other people must feel, man.
Yeah, and that's why depression rates are up, whatever, 30, 40, what was it, 40%? Something like that?
Yeah.
Or maybe it was more. I don't know, man. But suicide, depression, it's really sad to see that that's the way the world's going, because everybody has this ideal image they're living up to, and everybody portrays their best life online. Like all these celebrities, oh, this is me, this is my wonderful wife, this is the car I drive, and it's like all we see is that, we never see the bad stuff. No one ever posts the bad stuff.
Yeah.
So
except David Goggins, man.
He posts everything. That's the best thing about it, man. People look for real. Like I want to follow someone who's real, who shows me, you know, I had a shitty day, or this is what I used to be like, and I worked my ass off to get here. Like that's the stuff I want to see, not the one who's always constantly on his A game.
Did you see that picture he posted yesterday of his feet?
No, I didn't see his feet. No.
Bro.
What?
It is atrocious, dude.
Oh, just the damage and from running?
Yeah, just from running every day, like every single day. For like I think he does 2 hours a day of running every single day.
They're probably pretty gross.
Dude, it is the most atrocious thing ever. You should check it out after this.
I will for sure.
It's the nastiest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Well, my feet after crabbing looked like pretty nasty, so I can only imagine him for like years and years of doing 2 hours running a day are probably pretty gnarly.
Bro, I thought it was Photoshop when I saw it. I was like, there's no way. And then I saw the name, David Goggins, and I was like, that's his feet, for sure. That's his feet. I could buy that. I just saw that picture. I didn't see who posted it. I saw the picture. I was like, oh, okay, cool. It's just like one of those weird pictures where they're posting, like, I don't know, whatever. And I was like, oh, David Goggins, that's his actual feet, for sure.
Yeah.
Guy's
I believe it. Yeah.
Guy's a freak. You had some stuff, because I know that you wanted to chat about a couple different things before we like kind of like get too sidetracked. Is there anything that you wanted to chat about today that you wanted to share, or?
I think we kind of.
Not to call you out on it.
I didn't have much written down, to be honest. I always like, just like our last one, I was like, let's just wing it and see what happens. What was I gonna ask? I wanted to share my Kambo experience. That was pretty cool, and that's something I feel like people would benefit from. Yeah. Have you heard of Kambo?
Kambo. No.
So it's like the poison from an Amazonian tree frog.
Wow.
That you basically scrape off. You burn a little, like you burn your skin just to open it up, and then you scrape this basically venom off this toad, and you put it. Well, actually, we had it kind of like, I guess it was sent to us from, I think it was sent from Peru. And you basically.
Is this legal? Like, should we be talking about this?
Oh, it's legal, man. It's
okay,
legal.
Cool. Then carry on.
Yeah. Like, but you need a shaman and stuff like that too. Like it's not anything too bad. Like you still get a shaman. Like you can't just go to a store and buy it.
Right.
But it's not as much psychedelic as it is like physical. It's very physical. So basically they burn you with a couple different spots. I actually still have the scars like on my shoulders and on my she did like my tailbone and then also my shoulder. So I went for 2 days, and that was a really cool experience. So basically it's the feeling like you're dying. So it's like very acute poisoning. So when she puts the poison onto your burn, it goes right into your body, right? Like it's instant. And within like probably 10 seconds, your whole skin turns on fire. Like your whole skin feels like it's burning. I don't know if you've ever had a niacin flush, but it's like a niacin flush times 1,000. So your skin goes on fire. All of a sudden your eyes feel like they're about to like pop out of your head, and you feel like you're dying for probably, I think the first day lasted about 20 minutes. And the second day when I did it, because it was my tailbone, I guess it's more of like an easier spot to feel it. That was probably almost 30 minutes where you're actually
your spine probably, man.
Yeah, exactly. So it was the craziest experience, because the feeling like you're dying, and because it's acute poisoning and you just feel so sick and you're vomiting a lot. So you vomit, and then the times you're not vomiting, you're trying to hold yourself together, not like freak out and panic. Because you're like, okay, this is clearly not good for me. Like, is this going to kill me? And you're basically in the fetal position for like up to half an hour. And I just remember it brought so much emotion out of me. Because again, it's not a psychedelic. You don't see any sort of crazy hallucinations and things like that. But it can bring out some like emotional trauma. And I actually went with my parents too, which is really cool, because they're finally on board with this whole like expanded consciousness psychedelic train that I'm talking about. Because I'm like, come on, there's more to life. Like you got to like break through these layers that we've built on ourselves throughout our lives of all this like trauma and things like that, and all of our bad habits, and try something new, right? And like see if it can almost like peel you like an onion. That's what I say.
Mm-hmm.
Peel you like an onion. And yeah, man, it was just such a crazy experience because it was laying there and I just remember I was like, okay, if I die, what are like the last things I want to think about? And I was like bringing up memories from my childhood, all the people that did me wrong, and I almost like forgave them and had peace. I'm like, you know what, like they hurt me, but maybe they were in a bad place themselves, you know, like no harm done. We're over it, water under the bridge. And it was just such a crazy experience because I went for 2 days. They recommend 3 days, but I went for 2, and then I forget I was doing something the 3rd day. And you're there for like, they prep you for probably 3-4 hours before you do it, where you're just like talking about your emotions and everything like that, talking about your life, any sort of traumas you have, because sometimes that's what happens, right? When you're experiencing the medicine, you resort to these like emotional states where you're like, some people cry, some people freak out, some people feel angry. And I felt like I was just laying there. I remember I was like, okay, there's like 16-year-old kids in Peru doing this as like initiation into being a man. I can do this, no problem. Because the 2nd day I was not excited for that. And once he puts the poison on me, all of a sudden your whole body just like starts buzzing. Like my hands went completely purple. So I remember I was sitting there and within 10 seconds I look at my hands and they were dark violet purple. And all of a sudden my eyes felt like they're about to explode. And I was like, okay, here we go. Here's round 2. I'm like, and then I closed my eyes. I'm like, okay. And I meditated. I'm like, all right, there's like 16, 13-year-old kids in Peru doing this. Like, no problem. Like, I got this. And then, yeah, I just kind of like thought about, it was weird though. You think about the weirdest things, man, but it's not very psychedelic in that sense where you're looking at stuff. It's more like you just go really deep into your own head, because what happens when you're about to die, right? You usually have those memories, flashback of like all your best memories and things like that. And it was just such a cool experience. And I recommend it for anybody who's looking for something to break them out of their shell, or to experience what it's like to be poisoned and almost feel like you're dying. Because, yeah, it really wakes you up.
Man, that's insane. I have so many questions.
All right, many questions. Let's hit a couple questions.
All right, first one. How did you hear about this? What made you want to do it? Like, how did you find the shaman? How did this happen?
Well, Kambo I heard about from a few different podcasts. I think I heard it in Aubrey Marcus first, and then I heard it again in another podcast talking about like the benefits of Kambo and what it can do for you, and like almost break you out of this normal reality that you're in and like turn you into a higher being in a sense. But I remember I heard about it a couple times, and then actually my mom brought it up. My mom was like, hey, we know a person who's a common Kambo shaman. So I'm like, what? I'm like, you're kidding me. I'm like, I just heard about this like a couple weeks ago. And she's like, yeah, we're thinking about doing it. I'm like, let's do it. Like, I'll do it with you guys. And like, she's like, you're sure you want to do it with your parents? I'm like, hell yeah, I want to do it with my parents. Well, that's like one of the experiences I'm going to bring with me to the grave, you know?
Unreal.
Like, being able to do that and experience that and break through all those like kind of emotional ties you had and traumas and things like that. And then, and being with your parents for that, like not many people get to do that with their parents. So I'm like, let's go.
Were you scared? Were you nervous? Like, were you anxious for that?
Oh man, I was pretty scared. Like when I was watching YouTube videos and seeing people's reactions, and you're purging like sometimes for that whole half an hour. So you're sitting there and you're just basically puking your guts out for half an hour, but it's cleansing in a sense, right? That's what they say. It's like, it's releasing all the bad toxins and like emotional trauma and things like that. And it just comes out. So the crazy thing was, this might be TMI, but we looked at our buckets at the end of the day, and me, my mom, and my dad, all of us had a separate color. So she's like, these, and she explained it. I forget what the colors meant, but she said like, yeah, I don't want to like ruin it, but anyways, mine was like dark yellow. My mom's was like almost brown, and my dad's was like green. So she's like, think about that. Each one is different because you each are different people, you know?
You have different things going on in your stomach, different like levels of acidity, different, yeah.
Yeah, and like she's also was talking more into like the spiritual side of like, yeah, like this could mean hatred, this could mean jealousy, this color means, yeah, it was really cool to see that. And yeah, it was really scary going into it after I watched all the videos of people and their experience. And but I was like, you know what, like, when am I ever going to do this again? This is a once in a lifetime opportunity, and I'm always into doing some sort of crazy thing to like expand my consciousness in any way possible, whether it's like mushroom, psilocybin, or yeah, Kambo. In this case, it was Kambo.
Unreal. So you've actually like died temporarily, right? So like we talked about that last time where your heart stopped. Now, how does this compare to that?
Man, it was pretty close. Like there were certain points where I was like, is this ever going to end? And then you just feel like your body's shutting down in a sense. Like it physically breaks you to where you're holding yourself in the fetal position, like curled up in a ball, and you're like, you just want it to end. Like there was a certain point in the first day when I was like almost like begging. I'm like, please, when is this over? And she's like, you're just getting started. And like I was like, oh my God.
I love how like reassuring she is. She's like, no, sweetheart, you just entered the party. That's it. Like,
I'm telling you, man, she was exactly like you talked right there. She's like, sweetheart, like we're just getting started. Because she was like a pretty intense shaman. She's like, I've done this like thousands of times with people. She's like, don't even start complaining yet. Like you got a lot to go through yet.
So does it end like abruptly, or is it like a gradual kind of decline?
It's pretty gradual. So it hits you like a train though. You're just sitting there and all of a sudden you look at your hands and your hands start vibrating like uncontrollably. Your hands start shaking, your whole body starts buzzing, and you're like, okay. And then you feel the temperature rise. And then all of a sudden my hands started going purple and my vision started getting blurry. I was like, okay, this is probably not good for me. And, and I was like, okay, what did I get myself into?
Nice.
But I kind of rode the train. And then day 2, I was a lot more like pumped up for it because I'm like, okay, I know what I'm getting myself into now. Again, there's kids 13 years old doing this as their initiation to being a man. I can do this, no problem. And yeah, it was just really cool where my mind went. My mind went to like all of my kind of like previous great experiences I had as like a younger person, all my childhood memories. And that's like very similar to like near-death experiences, right? You go back to like a lot of your old past memories and like almost reflect on your life. And that's definitely what I felt from Kambo.
Yeah. Do you feel like it's going to have like permanent impacts on you for the rest of your life? Or is it something you maybe have to do it again or?
Well, they say like for your immune system, like it's with you for life. Like you do it once, because now that I've acutely poisoned myself like that, certain things won't affect me as much. So I don't know, maybe that saved me from COVID, because I got COVID tested when I was in the hospital last time, which was about 2 weeks ago. I went in again for my heart.
Yeah.
And it was basically the same ordeal from 5 years ago where they said, you know, your heart's basically shutting down slowly. Your atrium is not pumping blood out. So luckily you came in a lot faster this time. So you're not at risk for a stroke yet, because it was within 24 hours or something like that. So I was lucky. I went pretty quickly. As soon as I noticed my irregularity, I was like, okay, it's time to go to the hospital. So I went, and it was a simple defibrillation. They fixed my heart rhythm. I was in the hospital for maybe half a day. I forget where I was going with that. But anyways, yeah, very similar to like Kambo, where it's like near-death experience and just reflecting on your life and all the good things and all the things that actually matter, right?
Yeah. So it definitely has impacts that'll last like lifelong.
Yeah, that's what you're saying. Okay, yeah, definitely. They say like it just changes your, almost like your physical threshold, because if you can put your body through that, you can almost handle anything, right? Like,
right.
It's just all increasing your overall threshold on what pain is and what what you can handle essentially as a human.
Man, that's insane. I'm actually surprised. I've never heard of that. But also,
look it up after this for sure. Check it out, man. If
how do you spell? Is it
connection? I can set you up.
Kambo?
Kambo.
Kambo. That's insane, dude. I've never heard of that.
It's really cool. And people who are like, "Oh, I'm not into drugs." It's not really a drug. It's a toxin from an Amazonian frog. So
yeah.
That was a really cool experience. I did like a little story, because on my Instagram I did a 2-day story of just kind of like explaining how I felt going into it, explaining how I felt after. I went a lot more in depth with like, you know, my emotions and things like that, but very cool experience, and I recommend it for anybody, man. Like if you can get through that, you can get through anything.
That's insane, dude.
Yeah.
That's insane, man. And so, like, what's kind of like your next, like, what's your kind of like next thing that you're gonna try out, man?
Man, I know we don't want to talk about drugs, but I want to try ayahuasca
Yeah.
really badly. I want to try ayahuasca. That's been calling me for a long time. And I was planning actually a year ago to go to Peru, and I was already looking up flights and going to Iquitos to do it with a shaman. And I found a couple different places that I liked, but I never went around to actually doing it. I don't know why I didn't. Actually, no, I went to Brazil. So I went to Brazil instead, and I had Brazil planned. So I'm like, okay, I'll just whatever, go to Brazil. I'll do this another time. But definitely, I want to do ayahuasca and spend like a whole week in the Amazon and do that properly.
Why do you think like all of these like spiritual, I guess like experiences come from that part of the world? I know like you're not like a doctor on this kind of stuff, but I'm just wondering, like, it seems like between like ayahuasca and now Kambo, like it's like why? Like, were these people onto something? Like, what's
right? Like, it makes you think. And I mean, I know the Mayans are not like directly related to that, but the Mayans were like supposedly like light years ahead of their time. Like everything they talked about, everything they drew was like everything from the future. So maybe these jungle people and jungle tribes are onto something, you know, like going back to almost the basics. And why do you think these things are here? Like, who was the first person who decided, I'm just going to grab this frog, scrape its back, and then rub it on a wound? You know what I mean? Like, there's got to be some thought process to that.
Yeah, I think probably the first time happened by accident. Like, I think maybe the frog like kind of got them, and then they had like this crazy experience maybe in the Amazon. And
yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I was trying to think, I'm like, who would think to do that? To be like, let me poison myself and just see what happens. But yeah, maybe they scraped up against it and then just had this experience and then wanted to share it with people and had some sort of like enlightening moment on it. Because why else would you want to do that, right? Unless you thought it brought you closer to your maker, in a sense.
That's insane, dude. That's insane. Do you think that it's just on that note, I'm assuming that you believe that there's a creator then?
I believe that everything is divine. I believe that the frog you look at on the ground and the worm you see in the dirt, everything is connected. Everything is divine. Like, if you think about the perfect balance of our world, it makes sense, right? Like, think about it like this. If ducks were the size of a horse, do you think the world would continue? Probably not, man. Yeah. Everything would get eaten by ducks. You know what I mean? So it's like everything
ducks are that badass.
If they were the size of a horse, man, they'd be eating every human. Yeah. They'd be after us, flying from the sky and eating all of us. Like, yeah. So if you think about it, everything is the perfect balance. There's the perfect population of each species, the size of everything, their defense mechanisms. They're not like other than octopus. Octopus have the most crazy defense mechanisms, and they're definitely alien. But everything else is perfectly balanced and made for this world.
They're definitely alien. Do they say that in the documentary? Is that your conclusion?
Oh, that's been my conclusion for a long time. I just know how smart they are and the things they can do, man, and like the way they can change colors. I'm like, these are not made on Earth. Like, they were sent here from some sort of, I don't know, maybe they were here before us. But anyways,
ancient aliens, man.
Ancient aliens, yeah, they've been here in the water for a long time. But yeah, it's just weird how everything is so perfectly balanced. So to me, I believe everything's divine, everything is God, but I don't believe there is one ultimate being, if that makes sense. Just the fact that everything works together in the system and everything can live with each other means that we're all, in a sense, God, and we're all divine. Yeah, that's nuts. I've like kind of been trying to figure that out recently, and I feel like so many people will say it's such an obvious answer. Like, everyone's kind of like polarized in that sense. Like, everyone I talk to, at least, is either like, dude, there's definitely a God, and then there's other people you speak to and they're like, dude, are you crazy? There's definitely no God. And you're like, man, how do you know this? Like, why are you so certain? Yeah. No one knows. I don't even know. I have no idea, man. Like, me just saying that is just me saying that life in general is God, you know? But who knows? We'll never know. That's beyond us. That's a question we'll never know. But yeah, I mean, just makes you think, right? That's why there's psychedelics, because it brings you closer to whatever you believe in.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%, man. And it's one of those things, it's so weird. I feel like that's almost like everything right now. And they even talk about that in The Social Dilemma. Dude, we should basically be running a commercial for them right now. They should be paying us. But
Well, yeah,
dude,
that's
they
true.
talk about that polarization in The Social Dilemma. I feel like everything's so polarized now, man. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't like talking about that topic too much anymore. Like, we've talked about it so much, and just the whole social dilemma thing. When I think too much into it, it actually like gives me anxiety. I don't get anxiety easy, but I'm like, the whole topic of this social dilemma, it brings up my anxiety big time.
Yeah, man, 100%. Well, back to we'll root it back to mental health then. We'll root it back to mental
We're
health.
done with that. We were done
Yeah.
with that topic.
We'll do a full 180 right here, I guess, and go like, so if that made you feel anxious, I mean, like, do you know of any solutions for that, or maybe just anxiety in general? Like, how do you cope with that?
For me, the gym has been a huge outlet, of course, just channeling my energy and actually focusing and having that 1 hour to myself where I'm just pushing my body to its breaking point and feeling good, getting the endorphins going. But an overall anxiety cure, I mean, there never really is one. Like, it's up to the person individually. Some people combat it with THC and CBD. I know a lot of people that do that. Smoke a joint before you go to bed. That'll help for sure.
If it's legal where you live.
If it's legal where you live, yeah, exactly.
We're blessed in Canada. And
Thanks for saving me on that one. I'm not talking anything illegal here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, what do you do exactly?
Man, I find that like I'm like anxious the most. Like, if I'm out of my routine, like, routine is something that I need. I know not everyone's like that, but like, for me, routine is everything. If my routine's off, I'm destroyed. And
Yeah.
I had someone kind of try and call me out on that one time, and they're like, maybe you should try exposure therapy. If you try not having a routine for a while, you won't feel as anxious about not having a routine. And then I just kind of say, well, I didn't have a routine for the first like 22 years of my life, 23 years of my life. It was only the last like kind of year, maybe 2 years, I brought routine in my life. And now I'm actually feeling comfortable enough. That's why this YouTube channel started at the time that it did, because it's like, okay, now I actually feel confident enough to start giving someone tips on how to feel better, because I'm starting to feel better myself. So yeah. I feel like if like that would be one thing I really recommend, is like routine and coping mechanisms as well, man. I used to have the shittiest coping mechanisms. Like, I was one of those people where I was like, man, I just never want to be alone. Like, I would like cling to ex-girlfriend or like girlfriends at the time. My girlfriends at the time would cling to my buddies, and I would just be like, dude, chill with me because I can't be alone right now. And just getting comfortable with being alone is like huge, dude, because now that I'm comfortable with being alone, and I know sometimes if I'm in a social situation where I feel anxious, I'm like, dude, I just need to be alone. Like, I just need to be alone for a little bit now.
Yeah, you can like almost like pay attention to that extrovert and introvert side of you, you know, where it's like, you know, I've had my extrovert out for a little bit, but I need to go back to my introvert. And it's like just knowing that balance where you're almost in limbo between the two, right? Because no one's ever full extrovert and no one's ever full introvert. We're always back and forth a little bit. Like, yes, we're more one-sided to one way, but I'm noticing as I age, the more I age, I'm definitely becoming more introverted, where I need that alone time. I need to recharge. I need to ground myself. It's so important. And when I was younger, I could just be an extrovert all the time. I'd be out socializing, meeting with people, hanging out, grabbing beers and all that stuff. And I'm like, I can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It's gotta be
the same, man.
Yeah. Right. You just get into your routine. It's like, I don't want to break my routine. I got stuff to do. I got tons of things. I got a meal prep tonight. I got to clean my house. I'm like, these things are important.
Yeah. And I think the last thing, I guess, this is something that I just kind of realized. Well, I didn't just realize it yesterday, but it came into play and I handled this situation well. So this is something I was proud of, actually. But like, kind of just being more aware of my emotions in the moment. So like, what happened to me was I was at work and I had kind of like, I had just framed a wall and I had done it not to code. And so I basically had to undo all the work I had done and then redo it. And I was pretty frustrated taking it apart, and I had broken one of the studs that I was taking off. And I just looked at my foreman and I was like, man, I'm going to take a minute and just step outside. I'm sorry, but like, I'm too upset. Like, I'm so mad and frustrated right now. But I'm going to take a minute and just go outside and breathe fresh air for a minute, and I'll come right back and get back to work. But like, I need to take it right now. And he's like,
That's hard to do, man. Hard to be like that, to like speak up almost, you know?
Yeah. He's like, all right, go for it, man. Take your time. I feel you. Cause he's a lot older. He's obviously dealt with this so many times. He's like,
yeah.
But
well, people respect that too, right? People respect when you're like, hey, you know what? This is what I need. This is what I need. And they're like, oh, you're vocalizing, you're communicating. This is what you need. I respect that, rather than you just like storming off or something like that, you know?
Yeah. And I know, like, for my, like, yeah, I've seen it in myself a lot of times where if I'm getting mad, I'm getting frustrated, I'll just continue to do that. Like, I'll just continue, like, you know, swinging my hammer around or yelling, or maybe it's not even at work. You just kind of like raise your voice at someone, or you're not listening properly. Like, dude, when your emotions get the better of you, if you're susceptible to that, which I definitely am, it doesn't feel good after, man. It doesn't feel good after. So like, 100%. I feel like that self-awareness, just to be like, okay, we need to cool off. Like, this is a little bit, like, something's going on. Like, it's probably not even work bugging you right now. Like, that's what I always tell myself. Like, it's probably not even this that's bugging you. Like, do people make mistakes at work and have to redo this shit all the time? So it's probably not even this that's bugging you. Like, you got something going on.
Else.
Yeah, just go outside and do it for a minute, dude.
Okay. Well, Mark, I don't want to cut you off, but I got to get going pretty quick here. I got to go pick up my couch. It's IKEA just messaged me saying your couch is ready. And
all right,
dude. Go pick it up. So.
Well, you're not allowed to get off yet. Just one more thing. Sorry. I don't do my own outros, dude. I do my own intro, but you're going to do the outro today. You know the score. You've done it before. But you got to leave the people with a positive message, something that they can feel motivated, inspired by, feel happy about. But you get the mic, man. Do this little exit.
All right. So everybody, go watch The Octopus Teacher and go watch The Social Dilemma. Those are going to be your two biggest teachers for the next little while. You'll learn a lot of things from both of those on how to be a good human and how the world is changing and how we need to make it aware that, you know, there is a social dilemma going on. And I just want to wish everybody a great, what day is it today? I'm losing track of the day.
It's Thursday.
And a good weekend. I got a busy weekend ahead of me, so I'll be moving. And that's it, man.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, brother. I'll let you go. I know you got your couch to go pick up. Congratulations on the new place. Congrats on the Kambo experience. Thank you for sharing this. I'm going to check out The Octopus Teacher, and I'm going to do some research on Kambo because that's really cool, bro.
Awesome, man. Thanks for having me again.
No, thank you for being here, man. Thank you so much. And you have a good weekend, man. Best of luck with moving.
Okay, thanks, man.
All right, peace out, bro.